My wife has Huntington's disease. Let's talk about how that affects her socializing. So first of all, her Huntington's disease has several symptoms that interfere with her ability to socialize. It does cause cognition issues, which means she has difficulty keeping up with a conversation. It's not that she's not intelligent, but she has these little glitches, these moments where her brain's not able to continue on with the next task. So it just takes her longer to process what's going on. And in the course of a conversation, it's very rare for people to slow down and give her that moment to catch up. So as a result, she feels self-conscious about that and tends to withdraw. Additionally, she has some memory issues. So this might be slightly embarrassing for when she doesn't realize that she's already told you a story, but she might also forget things going on in your life. And so she may ask you and then realize, oh, that's right, I already knew that you had just graduated high school or just gotten your driver's license or whatever the situation is. She might also forget where the conversation is going or what the purpose of the conversation is. And when it starts to wander and she realizes that she's the cause of that wandering, she feels very self-conscious about it. Her movements are also a source of embarrassment. Of course, she doesn't like when she's constantly moving and twitching in front of you, but that can also cause interruptions in her cognition. If she hits her hand against something, it draws her attention away from what she was doing, and she goes to see what was happening with her hand. And then, of course, if she hits her head or hurts herself in some capacity, she's embarrassed for people to see her hurt and crying. So one of my jobs is to help her through all of this. And one of the first ways that I do it is that generally conversations are funneled through me. So even if someone is asking Emily direct questions, I act as a buffer. I may ask them to restate the question or to explain it a little more, not because I don't understand, but because by forcing that change for them to restate it, it gives Emily a chance to keep up and to be part of the conversation without her having to constantly say, hey, I don't understand what you're saying. Sometimes my job is to intercept questions that really are too much for her or that she doesn't understand. And by doing so, she doesn't have to be embarrassed when she doesn't know the answer or she's not able to keep up with it. And of course, part of what I do is I provide a sense of safety. In general, Emily's ability to function, whether it's her cognition or her movements, is affected by her sense of stress or happiness. So if she's feeling really upbeat and happy, her movements tend to go down. She has an easier chance to keep up with people's conversations. As she feels more stressed, her movements increased. She has more trouble with memory, and that, of course, is kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy because as she's more embarrassed and has more difficulty, things get worse, which then just create the next cycle of being embarrassed about it. In order for someone else to fill this role, Emily has to be very comfortable with them. That generally means she has to have known them for quite a while, but that's by itself is not enough. She also has to have a sense that they are watching over her, that they know what's going on, and they're able to intercept these questions that can be overwhelming for her. So there's certainly a large group of people that she knows quite well and that she's known for a very long time, but they are not able to step in and take this role for her. At this point in her life, her older children are able to do this, her mom and some of her sisters. But like I say, it's a pretty short list, and nobody else is able to provide Emily quite the same sense of safety that I can, which is wonderful, although I do worry that the time will come that even I am not able to do that, and I'm not sure what we're going to do at that point. I didn't realize how much interference I ran for Emily until we went to a speech therapist to help Emily with her swallowing. And the speech therapist very kindly and respectfully asked me to stop stepping in, that he needed Emily to answer these questions directly. And he pointed out that he realized that I was protecting her by doing that, but his job required that he see what she's doing in order to be able to help her the most. Social interactions are really important for everyone's mental health. And Emily is somewhat of an introvert, and she is somewhat of a homebody, so she doesn't need quite as much social interaction as, well, I do. But I do know it's still very bad for her to be very isolated. So there's a few things we try to do on a regular basis. We do try to go to church as often as we can. She doesn't go every week, but she does go fairly often. and then getting her to do some shopping with me or one of the kids on occasion, to get outside and to be around people, even if she doesn't interact with them directly, is really good for her to socialize that way. I appreciate you joining me on this little journey with my wife and I. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments or to send me a message. And if this provides value, if you learned something, I'd really appreciate it if you would drop a like. Thanks. Bye.